Well, hello, Glue Troopers. Max and Max's Models here. We had a busy day today. First off, I took the Soyuz I built last night, the actual capsule itself, and put it with some of my displays with the American Space Program. And then I put the rocket up on the top of the cabinet with my rocket display, so it went in there nicely. And then I came back and decided that, you know what, I'm going to do a little work on that M-50 Ontos. And I'm like, we'll take some pictures of all the goodies that are in the box and the sprues and everything, maybe put a few parts together and have a chat about it. Now, this is the old Renwal kit, and I'd always wanted the Renwal kits, and now I have it, which means a lot of opening hatches and stuff, but we'll get into that. Well, when I started going through the various runner trees, I realized a lot of the parts had already been separated. Fortunately, everything was there. It was still in the shrink wrap, but given all of the small parts that are extended off the end and everything, and how old the kit is, I'm not surprised as much as it's been handled that, quite a few of the parts have fallen off. But everything was there, and so when I looked at the instruction sheet, I was like, this isn't too terrible. It's got the vinyl tracks, which means, of course, I'm going to have to do all kinds of massaging and everything to get the tracks to look anything like normal. But not a problem. The tracks are fully exposed when they're on the vehicle and the model's done, so I'm not going to get away with staples on this one. And I'm going to have to paint the inside because with so many opening hatches, especially the large rear hatch, and all the internal components that are there, you're going to be able to see a fair amount inside. So I want to make sure to detail the inside. I think the inside of these vehicles are painted white. Most armor vehicles are to enhance lighting, but I'll have to do a little research and see. The parts map is not exactly the way the runner trees in the kit are. It's one big master, and that wouldn't fit in the box, so apparently they cut it down. But it does show you all the parts, and they're reasonably well numbered. The little hatch covers and everything, they're kind of press fit, but you could probably want to have some glue. You're going to have to enlarge some of the holes because some of the fits are too snug. The recoilless rifles, the biggest problem with those is they're three-piece barrels, which it's really hard to get them to line up perfectly straight. And since they're unsupported on the vehicle, you're going to have a little bit of fun getting them to point all evenly. But, a little work, you can do it. The bottom hole is actually one of the trickier parts to put together. Just getting everything to line up and stay in place till the glue hardened. After that, most of the parts pretty much fell into place. And, of course, you've got the 3 crew member figures all pretty much standing, so you pose those however you want. And I was just going to put a few things together and take some pictures, and once I got rolling, it sort of picked up what I've started to call build inertia. The wheels went together lickety-split. They're very easy, and being a small armored vehicle, there aren't that many of them, and as you just start putting parts on, and you're using that quick setting cement, and everything just kind of flows. And I didn't really have any snags. There's not that much detail on the interior. Played with the tracks a little bit just to see what they're going to look like. I'm like, yeah, those are definitely going to need some help. The vehicle does have a lot of track sag, so we're going to have to work that out somehow. And then I finally got to a point where I was like, well, heck, I've got the chassis pretty well built. I'll just go ahead and start working on the hatches and stuff. And there was one piece, this handle for the hatch, that I couldn't find. Turned out it had managed to perfectly hide under the flap corner of a box on the inside. And I've been shaking the box, but it was very secure in there. And I finally found it because I peel back those pieces when I'm missing a part to make sure. And it actually was in there snug enough. It survived the first time I looked under it. And I just something ain't right here. So I tried it again and found it. You have to be careful gluing on these internal parts because it does have a rotating, it's not really a turret, but it's the mechanism for the recoilless rifles. So these 3 pieces, the control box and the 2 crank handles, they're what actually hold it on the track inside. But once I got it set, I had to, a little glue had seeped in. I had to break the glue bond, but it worked. The gun holders on the brackets that hold the lower recoilless rifles, those move also, as do all the hatches open. So had to be careful when I put the parts on that hold them down that it didn't, get glue intrusion. And again, had to use the X-Acto knife to widen things out a little bit because some of the holes are just a little too snug, which I'm sure is by design because they probably want you to be able to press fit those into place. And of course the back hatch, which is actually the easiest one to mount, and it opens also and gives you a heck of a good look inside the vehicle. So before long, I had most of it pretty much done. This is the kind of vehicle that there is really not a lot of pre-painting. The tracks aren't on it yet. It's all going to be olive drab, and the inside might be white with a few colors. So I just like, you know what, go ahead and put it together, and I'll spray it later. But overall, neat little kit. I'm very happy with the way it's looking, and I'll probably do something cool and interesting with it later on. But for right now, it's about as far as I can go. So without painting it. And so what I'm going to do is I just boxed everything up, and it's going to go out to the Tarbis, and I'll complete it out there. Of course, it's not finalized. There's still a lot of fit and finish and stuff to go on and the top is not glued to the bottom. Everything's just sitting there. By the way, the recoilless rifles come with shells, and even the recoilless rifle rear ends of the breeches open up. I broke one of them and had to glue it shut, but the other 5 actually function. And so you can pose different load configurations. You have to chop down the shell if you want it to go in all the way, because the bore in the breech isn't that deep, but you can have them hanging out part way. You also have an ammo tray in the bottom that has rounds in it that you can display however you like. It's a neat little kit. I really want to thank Mr. Dillard for sending it to me. It's something I'd wanted for a long time, and now I have an Ontos. I don't know when I'll get around to finishing it. I don't want it to end up on the table of woe. So when I was done with that, I finished off the gantry mechanism for the Soyuz, which was surprisingly complicated, and that's hardening. I've got the Soyuz up on the shelf. I may or may not display it on this thing. You can actually display this a couple of different ways. You can stack it or have it linear. There was some issues with it. I think they skipped an entire step where you mount the railroad wheels on the main rocket gantry, but I found some parts that looked like that they were supposed to go in there, but I didn't see them in the instructions, so I just winged it. But it came out okay, and that's all that matters. Well, guys, that's what I've got for right now, and I hope you guys are having a great evening. I'm going to head out tomorrow for work. Should be back on the air Thursday, and hopefully a live stream Saturday night. You take care of yourselves, and as always, model on.